All right, so ready to jump headfirst into the crazy world of crypto. Today, we're diving deep into the stories everyone's talking about, the ones that might just change how we think about money, tech, the whole shebang.
And it's changing every single day.
That's why we're here. To help you cut through all the noise and figure out what's actually important, we've got your market update, but more importantly, what it all actually means. And get this dog food token. Yeah, you heard right, it's up 820% today.
Wow.
Meanwhile, KLA US decided to go on a downward trend, down almost 35%. Makes you wonder what's going on, right?
Well, it's crypto, so you got to expect the unexpected. But the key is figuring out what's driving those changes.
Totally. So is this just another day in the crypto world, or is something bigger happening?
Well, the whole global market cap is down a bit, which isn't that unusual. Bitcoin and Ethereum are pretty stable, but these big price swings usually come down to, speculation and what's happening in the news. One tweet can send the whole market into a frenzy.
So we should ignore the daily ups and downs and focus on the bigger picture.
It can feel chaotic day to day, but it's the long-term trends that really show us where things are going.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about something I found really interesting. World Chain. They're saying they're the first human-centric blockchain. Honestly, I'm kind of confused.
It's definitely interesting. Basically, they're taking on a problem everyone in crypto hates. Bots.
Ah, yes, those little digital annoyances.
Exactly. World Chain is designed to make sure that real, verified humans are prioritized. Giving them priority for stuff like block space and transaction fees. Imagine a social media platform where you knew for sure that everyone else was a real person. No more bots, no more spam, just real people.
That's a game changer. Is this the future of how we interact online?
It could definitely change how people experience the internet and build trust in online communities. They say they already have the most verified human users of any platform, and some big names like Uniswap and Etherscan are already involved.
And speaking of trust, let's move on to DeFi, decentralized finance.
A world without banks or traditional institutions. It's certainly something to watch.
Right. And DeFi, which is like the main source for all things DeFi, just partnered with exponential.fi to make their risk assessment tools even better. They're serious about making DeFi safer and easier for everyone to use.
Oh, absolutely. People are realizing how important transparency and managing risk is in the DeFi space.
And speaking of risk, remember that market crash back in August? Well, DeFi's newest report shows that DeFi actually did pretty well. Even with over $300 million in liquidations, there wasn't a complete meltdown. That's surprisingly strong for such a new part of the financial world, don't you think?
It definitely seems more stable and resilient than people expected.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This report also mentions something called tokenized real-world assets. Over $12.7 billion worth. Are we talking about digital houses and cars now?
Yeah, basically. Tokenization is like making a digital copy of something real on the blockchain. Like, think real estate, art, commodities, even things like loyalty points or carbon credits. This could totally change how we think about owning and trading things.
So instead of actually owning a painting, you'd own a digital token that represents it. That's wild. Okay, got to think about that one. But for now, how about we talk about something a bit less mind-blowing? But still pretty interesting, like those prediction markets, specifically Polymarket and the 2024 election. What's going on there?
Yeah, the Polymarket situation definitely raises some questions.
Right. Sounds like someone's using their crypto millions to try and rig the election. Is that even possible?
So with prediction markets, it's all about, the wisdom of the crowd. People bet on different things happening, and the odds change based on how much money's on each side. Theoretically, it's a decent way to see what people are thinking, maybe even predict the future a little.
Makes sense. So what's the issue then?
Problem is, just like any market, prediction markets can be manipulated. In this case, one user, goes by Freddy99, has been placing huge bets that seem like they're meant to make one candidate look more likely to win. And we're not talking chump change here. These bets are big enough to actually influence how people see the race.
So artificially pumping up a stock price to trick people into thinking it's worth more than it really is.
Exactly. And the worry is that this could have real-world effects, make people lose trust in prediction markets, or, even worse, actually influence how people vote.
Now that's a bit scary. Makes you think if this could happen in other markets too.
Absolutely.
But moving on from potentially rigged elections to the voters themselves, what about that crypto voting bloc everyone's talking about? 26 million people, according to that survey. Is this a new political force to be reckoned with?
Definitely a force to be reckoned with. This isn't just some niche group of early adopters anymore. Crypto's becoming mainstream, and that means political power.
Which makes sense. If something affects your money, you're going to want to say and how it's regulated, right? But how much influence does this crypto block really have?
Well, 26 million is a lot of people, but you got to remember, other issues like the economy, healthcare, they're still at the top of voters' minds. So while the crypto group can make some noise and influence policy, their power is still kind of limited compared to the bigger, more established voting groups.
Going to be interesting to see how politicians handle this. Do they appeal to the crypto crowd and risk alienating other voters, or play it safe and maybe lose those 26 million votes?
It's a tough spot to be in, that's for sure. And speaking of risky moves, remember that whole SEC hacker thing? That fake announcement about a Bitcoin ETF being approved?
Oh yeah, the one that sent the market crazy for a hot minute.
That's the one. Well, turns out the FBI finally caught the guy who supposedly spread that fake news, allegedly hacked the SEC's X account to do it.
Okay, first of all, bold move. Second, it just goes to show that even with decentralized finance and all that, we're still vulnerable to good old-fashioned hacking and fake news. And this wasn't some harmless joke. That fake announcement had real consequences for a lot of people.
Really drives home the point that keeping the crypto world safe isn't just about the technology itself, but about the systems and safeguards we build around it.
Yeah, it really makes you think. I guess it shows we're still in the early stages of this whole crypto thing. There are going to be some bumps in the road.
For sure. But those bumps usually lead to some pretty cool innovation, ways to make things better.
So true. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from dog food tokens' insane rise to the potential problems with those prediction markets. We talked about human-centric blockchains, how strong DeFi has been, and how important cybersecurity is in a world where one tweet can move millions of dollars. It's a lot to take in.
And the craziest thing is we're just getting started. The line between what's real and what's digital is getting blurrier every day, and crypto's leading the way.
Makes you wonder, what's it going to be like in 5, 10 years? Will we all be buying and selling digital houses on our phones? Will we be voting on the blockchain?
It's hard to say for sure, but that's what makes all this so exciting, right?
Yeah,
Crypto's making us rethink what's possible, making us imagine a whole new future.
it definitely gives us a lot to think about. Well, that's it for today's deep dive into the wild world of crypto. Hopefully you learned some stuff, maybe got even more curious about this whole revolution. And remember, this is just the beginning. Keep learning, keep asking those questions. Who knows, you might be the one shaping the future of crypto. Until next time.